Good morning, chefs. So today's lesson, we're going to be moving on to a new unit, and that new unit is Unit 123, Prepare and Cook Eggs. Your lesson aim for today is to create a number of egg dishes, identifying any new ingredients used in today's lesson. Your lesson outcomes for today are to state any new cooking methods used, identify some quality points of eggs, and recall any prior knowledge that is stated in today's lesson. As a stretching challenge, some learners will be able to state the correct temperature that is needed to cook an egg at its minimum, and the answer to this one is in the video, so everyone should be able to get this one. Okay, let's start looking at the ingredients for today's lesson. So we're going to be doing 3 dishes today, so I'm going to give all of the ingredients in this part of the video, and then as the video progresses we're going to go into individual dishes and what we're going to need ingredients wise for them dishes. So the first one is chopped chives. The next one will be chopped tarragon, followed by some brunoise of red chilli, some wafer thin honey roast ham, some smoked Scottish salmon, some cubed butter, hollandaise sauce, an English muffin that has already been toasted, a couple of slices of white bloomer loaf, some semi-skimmed milk, and some eggs. The equipment we're going to need for today is a bread knife, a sharp chef's knife and steel, a wooden spoon, a fish slice, a slotted female spoon, a frying pan, a saucepan, a jug with some warm water and spoons, and also a plate with some kitchen roll on as well. Good morning, chefs, and again welcome to my kitchen. Now hopefully we will be back into college soon, so we'll be in the college kitchens, and hopefully we'll be doing this live rather than recorded. Okay, so today we're going to be starting a new unit, and that unit is Unit 123, and that is Prepare and Cook Eggs. So today I've got 3 dishes for you. One of them is going to be an Eggs Benedict, the other will be fried egg and smashed avocado on toast, and the last one will be scrambled egg and smoked salmon on toast. Okay, so let's start going through our ingredients. Now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all the ingredients together that we're going to use for the 3 dishes, and then before we start cooking another dish I will again go through the ingredients. Okay, so let's start with the bread. So I've took the liberty of toasting it prior to cooking, and we're just going to heat that back through in the oven just to save a bit of time. So I've got an English muffin, and I've also got 2 slices of white bloomer bread as well. So that's that. Of course, I was doing Unit 123 Cook and Prepare eggs. I've got a bowl of eggs. I've got about 50 grams of cubed butter, some really nice wafer thin honey roast ham, some beautiful smoked salmon. Now this smoked salmon is Scottish smoked salmon, and what they do with that is they cure it in salt and then they will smoke it for about 10 hours, and that's the product we get from that. Of course, salt and pepper, but this one is cracked black pepper. We've got an avocado, I've also got a lime, some diced red chilli, that's into brunoise. I've got some chives, which I've just sliced up. I've got some tarragon, and that's tarragon, and again I've just chopped that right up. And if you're not familiar with tarragon, tarragon has a subtle aniseed sort of taste. The next one, I'm just going to go with 30 mils of semi-skimmed milk, another 30 mils of white wine vinegar, and last but not least, I've made up just a quick hollandaise sauce. Now if you think back to the mac and cheese lesson, where we said that bechamel sauce was a mother sauce, this hollandaise sauce is also a mother sauce, and we're going to turn it into something different as we progress on today's lesson. So first things first, I'm going to clear off anything I don't need for this first dish. I'm going to wash my hands, and then we're going to start to cook. Okay, so let's just start going over the first dish. So this dish is called an Eggs Benedict, and it is poached egg on a muffin with some ham and also a béarnaise sauce. Now let's just go through the ingredients again. So this hollandaise sauce that I've made, how I made that was I got 6 egg yolks and I whisked them up and I cooked them out over a bain-marie, which as we know is a pan of boiling water with a bowl on top. And the reason we do that is so we cook out the eggs at a gentle heat. If we were to cook it with a fierce heat, it would turn to scrambled eggs. Okay, and then I melted a block of butter and slowly poured in the butter to the egg yolks so it emulsified, and that's where we get a little sheen on the sauce from. I then had some white wine and I made a reduction, and we know that a reduction is we reduce the amount of liquid by half and added it to it. So that's our basic hollandaise. And as I said before, with the mother sauce, which is the hollandaise, I am then going to add the chopped tarragon, and that's going to turn our hollandaise sauce into a béarnaise sauce. Okay, so that's that one. I've also got some fine sliced honey roast ham, 30 millilitres of white wine vinegar, which is going to go into my boiling water. And what that does is, in the egg white there is a protein called albumin, and the white wine helps it set. So you should get a perfect poached egg with that white wine vinegar. If you were to use malt vinegar, the flavour is just too powerful and you'll taste it on your eggs. Where with the white wine vinegar, it's just that little bit more subtle and we won't taste it. I've got a plate with some kitchen roll on. So once we poach our eggs, we're going to put it onto there, and that will absorb any excess water. And I think that's it. My pan's on ready, it's boiling. So we're going to crack on with poaching our eggs for our hollandaise. So now my pan's come up to boil, I'm then going to add my white wine vinegar. So as you can see, this pan is pretty deep and it is pretty much full of boiling water. So I'm going to add my white wine vinegar to there. I'm going to let it come back to the boil again. So in the meantime, I'm going to make my béarnaise sauce. So I'm going to take my hollandaise sauce and I'm going to put my chopped tarragon straight into there. And then we're just going to mix it up. And what will happen is the oils from the tarragon will then start to flavour the sauce just while we let it stand. Okay, so my pan has come back to the boil now, and I've got my slotted spoon, and I'm just going to stir the water. And what that's going to do is, it's going to create a vortex in the middle of the pan, and we're going to crack our eggs into there, and the egg white will wrap around itself. So I'm going to take my eggs, and I've got a bowl here, and I'm going to crack my eggs into that bowl so we can inspect them, inspect the quality points. And the quality points we're looking for is, so obviously not a cracked shell, make sure there's no red specks into the eggs, and also make sure it's fresh. So that's one egg. I don't know whether you'll be able to see it, but that's fine for what we're going to use. So again, going to make a vortex. And I'm just going to drop my egg right into the centre. And then I'm going to repeat the same process with another egg. And these are going to take about 3 minutes to cook. So in the meantime, we're going to start reheating our English muffin up, and then we can start building our eggs Benedict. Okay, so 3 minutes have passed now. I've just about to take my poached eggs out. In my oven, I've got my English muffin, which is just warmed through again. So I'm going to put it onto my plate. I don't know whether you can see that. There we go. And onto my English muffin, I'm going to layer my nice honey roast ham. And I'm just going to try and make a little nest, and that is so the egg will sit properly and it won't fall off. Okay, so that's going on to my English muffin. I'm going to carefully take my poached egg out of my water and place it onto my kitchen roll. So I'm finished with that pan now, so that when it's safe to do so, we can put it through the sink. Now let's get a spoon for these. So I'm going to pick up my poached eggs on a spoon. I'm going to place them on top of the honey roast ham. And the second one, again on top of the honey roast ham. So you can see that just there, 1 second. Then I'm going to take my béarnaise sauce, and I'm just going to put a spoonful over each poached egg, like so. Let's get rid of that little piece of ham. And then I'm going to take some fresh tarragon. I'm just going to pull a few leaves off, just so we're getting the tarragon element right the way through the dish. And I'm just going to break some over the top so it's fresh, colourful, vibrant. And that, chefs, is my eggs Benedict. There we are. So the next dish we're going to do is smashed avocado and fried egg on toast. So the ingredients I'm going to be using for this dish is, of course, our 2 store-bought eggs, avocado, a lime, our brunoise of red chilli, some olive oil to fry our eggs in, and some salt and some ground black pepper. Now, what I must say is, whenever we're touching eggs, chefs, always wash our hands straight afterwards. Okay, we can't risk any salmonella being passed on because we haven't washed our hands after we've touched eggs. So again, I'm going to wash my hands as I'm creating a different dish, and I've also touched the eggs. Okay, so let's get started. So I've got my frying pan on, and it's only on a medium heat. If it's going to be too hot, you will burn the bottom of your eggs. So let's try and do this in real time, and we'll see how it goes, okay? So, whilst my pan is heating up, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now, I've got a non-stick frying pan here, so you might need a little bit more olive oil if your pan isn't non-stick. So, 2 tablespoons. and I'm going to drop my eggs straight in. So whilst these are cooking, I've got in my oven my toast just reheating through, and then we're going to make our smashed avocado. So again, I'm going to break these into a bowl so we can check for the quality points on them. And the second one, there we go. So there's no shell, there's no red bits, we're ready to cook with them. So my oil should be hot enough to cook with. And I'm just going to drop them both into my pan. And again, I've just touched eggs, so I'm going to wash my hands straight away. Okay, let's get on to the smashed avocado. So, we don't want to smash it up too much when we're making a guacamole. Okay, so for this I'm going to use my avocado, my lime, and also about 3/4 of my red chilli. And then we're going to season it with salt and pepper. So first things first, I'm with a paring knife, and in the middle of this there's a big stone. So we want to cut around this big stone. There we go. And then we can just twist and pull, and we've got our avocado. Now again, we're looking quality points. So obviously the skin isn't broken and it's a nice colour inside. Any discoloration, just get rid of it. So I'm going to start by spooning out the flesh from my avocado, and you just take a spoon and you can scoop it right out of its skin. Now this side with the stone in, we're going to go on the same principle, and then as we break it up, we'll remove the stone. Now, if we make smashed avocado and you want to hold it for any period of time, if you keep the stone in with your smashed avocado, it will help it to stop it going brown. Okay, so I'm going to just get in there, I'm going to take out this stone. And that is all it looks like, just a stone, and we're going to discard it because we're going to use this smashed avocado straight away. Just going to give my hands a little wash. Okay, next to go in, like I said, we're going to use about 3/4 of our brunoise of chilli. Now this is just going to give it a little bit of a lift, a little bit of heat. I'm just going to pop that into there. And we're going to save some of this because we're going to garnish the dish with it. Now the lime. So again, I'm just going to cut the lime in half. We're just going to use the juice, and it will just add a bit of freshness, and it'll also stop your avocado from turning brown because it's a citrus fruit. And I'm only going to use half. So I'm going to squeeze it into my bowl through my hands to make sure no seeds or pips go into it. Get all the juice out. And wash hands again. Constantly wash your hands, chefs. And then we're going to go in with some seasoning. Some salt. Nice couple of tins of salt. And a good pinch of cracked black pepper. Okay, I'm going to get rid of my spoon, and I'm going to swap out to a fork. Now, like I said before, we don't want to make it too smooth. We want a little bit of texture in there with the avocado. So, you can see, we're just going to start mashing it up slightly, and that'll help mix in the lime juice and disperse it evenly throughout this component of the dish. Okay, so as you can see, we've still got a little bit of texture to that, but it's also going to spread nicely over our toast. So I'm just going to leave that there. Bring my plate forward. Now I'm just going to turn up slightly my eggs because they're just taking a little bit too long. So if you come back in 2 minutes, our eggs should be cooked and we'll be ready to plate up. Okay, so as you can probably hear, my eggs are ready to come off now. My toast is hot in my oven and my smashed avocado is ready to plate up. So let's start plating up. Okay, so I've got my nice slice of toasted white bloomer. I'm just going to pop that onto just a little bit of our smashed avocado. What that's going to do is it's going to stop it moving around the plate. Okay, so that's on there. I'm going to take my smashed avocado and place it onto my toast, using as much from the bowl as possible. And we're going to spread it out. Okay, so there's enough there, there's different textures, different flavours. It's going to taste nice and fresh because of the lime. And then in my pan, so I've got nice soft fried eggs. I'm just going to take them straight from the pan and pop them onto my smashed avocado. Again, the second one, straight on. Pop that there for 1 second. I'm going to season my eggs with just a little bit of cracked black pepper. Now there should be enough salt in that smashed avocado, so you don't need to put any salt on. I'm also going to get rid of that spoon, and just for a little bit of colour, I'm going to sprinkle some of my brunoise of red chilli, just around and on. And I'm going to finish it with a nice few lime wedges. So it's optional if you want to squeeze it over the top. And that is my fried egg and smashed avocado on toast. Okay, so for our last dish, we're going to be making scrambled egg and smoked salmon on toast. Okay, so let's just go through the ingredients again. So I've got some cube butter. I've got 30 mils of milk. Some chopped chives. Some smoked Scottish salmon. My eggs. And of course my salt and pepper. Again, cracked black pepper. Okay, so for this dish, we're going to need to scramble our eggs before we cook them. So I've got my bowl ready, and I'm going to crack my eggs into my bowl. Again, we're going to be checking for shell, we're going to be checking for any red specks that shouldn't be in there. And all the red specks are is basically just blood from the chicken. We'll get rid of them. I'm going to wash my hands because I've just touched my eggs. So we'll give them a quick wash. And so to my bowl of eggs, as you can see there, I've got both of my eggs in. Easy to see it like that. I'm going to add my 30 mils of milk. Okay, you can also add cream instead of the milk, but I find it just a little bit too rich, and this is one of my favourite breakfast dishes, so I don't want it to be too rich because I want to eat a lot of it. And I'm going to add a couple of twists of salt and also a pinch of cracked black pepper. Okay, I'm just going to leave that there for 1 second. I've got the saucepan and my heater's on, so I'm just going to give that 1 second to heat up. But in the meantime, I'm just going to scramble these eggs, give them a really good mix, try and break up all the proteins in there, and we'll get a nice fluffy scrambled egg. So this heat, it's only on a medium heat, because we don't want to be cooking the eggs too fast. There's always that case with eggs of burning them at the bottom. So we just want to cook it really nice and slow, and we'll get a nice fluffy texture from it. So to my pan, I'm just going to add roughly half of that butter, so with about 4 cubes. I'm just going to wait for it to melt, which it shouldn't take too long. A couple more. And then keep mixing this egg. And I'm just going to put that straight in. Got my wooden spoon. And what we're going to do is, we're just going to keep mixing this. And just before it starts to be fully cooked, we're going to take it off. And the reason we do that is because the residual heat from the pan, and that's in the eggs, will carry on cooking the eggs, because we only need 64 degrees of heat to cook our eggs. And I've also got, heating through the oven, my last slice of toast. So once I pull this scrambled egg off, let's just see if you can see that. So if you can see, it's still slightly wet, so we're just going to give it another 1 minute on the stove, and then we're going to put it off and let the residual heat do its work. So I'm actually going to take that off right about now. So as you can see, it's started to firm up slightly. So we're going to take that off. I'm going to turn off my stove, and I'm going to take my piece of toast from the oven. So there's my pre-toasted piece of toast. I'm just going to put that on there. Now, the next stage is to take our smoked salmon. Now, I've noticed I've not buttered any of my toast or my muffins today, because I want to try and keep it as healthy as possible, trying to lay off the fats a little bit. So I'm just going to start building my smoked salmon. And if you can see that, we're going right the way. We're going to use quite a lot of smoked salmon, especially if you're in a restaurant. You want to be giving your guests the dish that they've paid for. So we don't want to be skimping on our ingredients. So that's the stage we're up to now. You see that I've slayed my toast with my smoked salmon. Okay, as you can see, now my scrambled egg is pretty firm, and that's because I've took it off and I've let the residual heat carry on cooking the eggs. So I'm going to give that a taste, because I want to make sure that my seasoning is correct. We'll see if it needs anything else. Just needs a little bit more salt in there. Just one more twist. Give that a mix up. It's nice and buttery, because we've used butter rather than oil. We get a really nice flavour from it. And I'm just going to put my scrambled eggs on top of my smoked salmon, like so. I'm going to get rid of that. And we're going to keep cleaning as we go in, chefs. Okay, so that's the state that we're up to now. So I've got my smoked salmon, I've got my scrambled egg, really buttery, nice. You can taste just a little tiny touch of salt in there, and you're going to be getting the cracked black pepper when you eat it as well. Okay, and to garnish my dish, I've just got my chopped chives, and I'm literally just going to sprinkle them over the top, just to give it that colour, give it a little bit of that sort of chivey flavour. And as we know, the chive comes from the same family as the onion and the spring onion. And that is one of my favourite breakfast dishes. It is scrambled egg and smoked salmon on toast.